Welcome back to the Angry Man Podcast with Jason and Greg. That is Jason. He's the chosen one. I'm Greg. What in the hell are you doing? Jesus Christ. And I am Greg, the chosen one. No, you're the chosen one. I'm the one. I'm the legend in my own mind. See, you fucking me up already, Jay, with all the stuff that you're doing, man. Your antics. He was already fucking up before we got on the line, ladies and gentlemen. But how is everybody doing today in the chat, man? Let's go and see who's in the chat today. Oh, man, we got David H in the building. We got the Keggy, Dolphin Time, Byron Bradley. Of course, my guy, Jason Williams. Who else? The Phonix. I think that's my first time seeing that name. Shout out to the podcast and everyone in the chat. What's up, Phonix? I think this is the first time I've seen your name. Got my guy Molly Mall in the building. What's happening with you guys, man? All right, Jay. You know how we do it, man. We hop right into it, bro. First of all, I want to give a shout out to the people that support the channel, Rock Dog Interactive and Black Father Figures. Black Fathers Matter. These guys support us in ways that you guys cannot imagine. So I'm very thankful for those guys. Shout out to the League of Legacy. He is the person behind Black Father Figures. They have a cruise coming up at the end of the year to celebrate Black fathers. I don't think we do enough of that in our community, and so definitely support them and in everything that they do. So Jay, let's jump into it, my guy. We got Bruce Gas in the building. What's up, Bruce Gas? Let's jump into it, Jay. We know that Anthony Joshua last night had a match. You didn't get the opportunity to see it. I didn't get the opportunity to see it, not live, but we did get the opportunity to see some of the highlights subsequent to the fight occurring. So Jay, based off what you saw from a highlight perspective, how do you feel about AJ and his performance under the tutelage of, let me make sure I pronounce and say his entire name, Derrick James, because apparently someone in the chat had an issue. Someone in the chat had an issue with us calling him DJ sometimes. But what are your thoughts?
I mean, like you said, I didn't get a chance to see the full fight. I only saw highlights of it. AJ looked pretty much, some of the highlights for the most part, he looked kind of the same. He looked big and stiff because he was like 255. I think that's the heaviest he's ever come in. I did notice he was kind of doing like the Spence hop back to evade punches. That's the only thing I noticed in the few highlights I did see. I'm gonna wait till I see the full fight to see if there's any subtle changes to his game that DJ may have implemented. And it's only one fight count with the fighter. So, I mean, this fighter has had, 27 fights already? So, I mean, it's hard to put your stamp on a fighter, change him completely, on just one fight count, just like Malik Scott did with Deontay Wilder. He helped Wilder out a little bit, but you saw Wilder, once things got tough, Wilder reverted back to what he was normal with. Some of those were standard flaws. So, I think that probably was the same with AJ, but I haven't seen the fight yet. But we'll watch it soon.
Yeah, I try to get the opportunity to watch it. From what I saw, it looked like AJ controlled the fight fairly easily, from what I could see. But again, that's going to be limited based off of what DAZN, shares. Didn't get the opportunity to see the fight in its totality, and that's there's a lot of nuances that you can pick up when you see the fight in total, and so that's the reason why I don't want to be overly critical or praise him too much. Because based on what I saw, he looked great. But without seeing the actual details of the fight, it's hard for me to really say, what he looked like. Now, I'm looking over here to the chat, man. I see Molly Mall. I see the Keggy. And they're saying that he looked average. So the Keggy said AJ looked average, not world class anymore, in my opinion. Molly Mall, AJ still looks hesitant. Let me see if there's anybody else. And let me pause and make sure I say salute to my guy T Ward is in the building. If you get the opportunity, go check out the Mic Check podcast. That's my guy T Ward coming up with that great content over there. And then my guy Jason Williams. I still don't think Derrick James is the Wizard of Oz, meaning he can't give AJ courage. So man, let's pause and talk about this, AJ, because we did a video this past week, and I feel like the video was taken out of context. I think people felt like we were saying that Derrick James should be blamed for any shortcomings or any issues that AJ may have after, these two hooked up or whatever. And that wasn't what we were saying. What we were saying is Derrick James, at least in our opinion, Jay, you tell me if you think that I'm wrong in this or you don't feel this way, but Derrick James, in my opinion, has not been given his full credit in terms of the trainer that he is. I wasn't all that high on Jermell Charlo before he moved over to Derrick James. I don't think maybe you were, Jay, but I wasn't. And he's looked worlds better under Derrick James. We see what he's done with Errol Spence, one of the top welterweights in the world, if not the top welterweight in the world. Frank Martin looks great and definitely a contender at 135 pounds. So felt like the guy is an excellent trainer, but he didn't get his just due. Now, AJ clearly has flaws, in my opinion. I don't know if Deuce Daly is in the building. Deuce is my guy as well, but Deuce disagrees with us on this one. I feel like there's some clear flaws in AJ's game in terms of I think it's the mental side, Jay, really. He looked like he was mentally frail against Ruiz. Now, I understand that Ruiz came in with a 2-week notice, which honestly should have given AJ more of an advantage over Ruiz, considering the fact that he probably hadn't been training. But it took him, he had 2 weeks to prepare for Ruiz. But still, once he got knocked down, the look in his eyes, the face, the body language, it tells a story, Jay. And it told a story that mentally he wasn't there. Usyk, he actually looked really good again in the second Usyk fight for several rounds, and then he started to fade in that fight, and he started to look like he was fading from just the fight in general. And then when you look at and you kind of analyze what it was that he did after the fight and how he responded, he also looked like an individual who was mentally fragile. And we know the fight, I mean, the boxing game, it's a tough game, bro. I mean, it can stress anyone mentally. So I can completely understand that. And so my thought was, hey, if he ever runs into a situation where, he just completely falls apart because he's already demonstrated that there's some mental fragility there, will Derrick James get blamed for it? My thought was yes, just because Derrick James wasn't given his rightful credit to begin with. And I think people are looking for opportunities to try to tear Derrick James down because of who he's affiliated with. That's all I was saying. Is it rightful? Is it right? Should they do that? No. But will it happen? Is it possible that it could happen? I think so. Jay, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, they're going to do it. I've seen it in some chat groups on Facebook that I'm in. As soon as this fight was over this morning, I looked at and they're like, Derrick James is an overrated trainer. He didn't change anything with AJ. I'm sitting here like, some things take a little bit longer. You need time to cook when you're a trainer, you're getting a new fighter. It's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. Yep. And in this instance, AJ's an old dog because he has 28 fights. He had Robert Garcia for one training camp. Robert Garcia implemented a few things. You saw little subtle changes in the Usyk fight, but what happened when things got tough? He reverted back to the old AJ. And as Jason Williams says in here, you question AJ's heart. He's timid. He seems timid in there, like he's worried. He doesn't seem like he trusts himself to take a shot or to be able to block a shot or react to a shot. So he does whatever he can to do to limit the amount of chances that it's coming at him. He doesn't think he can take anything, it seems now. He seemed like his confidence has been really fractured, like that, like the tantrum he threw after the second Usyk fight. That was very uncharacteristic of him. And it's almost, it made me mad. It's like some people are like, well, he showed that he showed emotion because he has heart. He wants to win. Like, no, he just said that I look better. Basically, he was like, was I better this time than I was last time? Yeah, but you still lost.
And you remember what happened after the fight too, Jay? Remember he almost got into it with someone after the fight in the hallways.
Yeah. So it's like I don't know if something's going on externally outside of the ring, but something just wasn't right. It's like something's missing with AJ now. Now the AJ that fought the 95-year-old Klitschko that got up off the canvas and fought tooth and nail to get him up out of there. That AJ saying he had like a lot more determination. He had a lot more heart. He was not going to be denied. But now after he got beat by Andy Ruiz, the second fight, he fought that fight smarter against Andy the second fight, but he also fought timid in that fight as well. He stayed on the outside. He didn't do anything else. That's all he pretty much did. He stayed on the outside, which is smart, but you could see him. It's like he was like, I don't know, I don't want to go back to that. It's like he's broken in a sense, you know. And I don't know if Derek James can fix that, or any trainer can fix that, because that has to come from within. So that's why I've always said on here, I'm like, AJ's missing something. I'm not saying he's scared of anyone, but he does seem like everyone's saying. Everyone pretty much agreed that he is timid. He seems timid. He seems gun shy. He's almost like a shot fighter, almost. You know what I'm saying? Where he's scared.
Yeah. So I've compared him to Lennox Lewis in the past, and people disagree with this because they feel like Lennox Lewis had more heart. I disagree with that notion. I think he and AJ are very similar. I think they are both. I think with Lennox Lewis, I think he was flawed by his chin. I think AJ is actually flawed by his mentality. And I think the right trainer can help both of these individuals, or the right trainer can help AJ out, similarly to how Emmanuel Stewart helped out Lennox Lewis. Lennox Lewis was taught how to fight in a manner that maximize his strengths and minimize his weaknesses. I think Derek James can be that for AJ. Fight in a way that maximizes your strengths and minimizes your weaknesses. Now, after the fight, I saw an interview from DJ talking about what was most important for him was the execution of the game plan. Knockouts are great and all of that, but can you go in there and stay focused long enough to execute the game plan as we designed it and deliver on the win that we are expecting? And he is saying that he did that. Derek James is saying that AJ did that. And so to me,
AJ said?
That's what Derek James said of AJ.
Yeah, but you heard what AJ said about that too? About the fight?
No, but let me finish. Let me finish and then you go there.
Go ahead.
Now,
yeah.
But if he has figured out how to do that and remain focused in a way where he is, hey, I can stay focused for long enough in order to execute a game plan, then in my mind, that speaks to his level of mental fragility, because you have to be mentally strong to stick with and mentally disciplined to stick with a game plan, execute it, and then deliver on what the outcome should be. So if he did do that, then that is a big step in the development of AJ, and he should be moving in the right direction. So Jay, what was your thought? You said AJ said something. I didn't hear what AJ said.
Yeah, AJ, I saw a clip for him talking about it. He was more or less like, he felt disappointed that he didn't get the knockout. Where DJ is like, the knockout, he wasn't really worried about the knockout. Like I said, he was worried about him sticking to the game plan. So it's almost like AJ still has in his mind, he's trying to be the old AJ, getting knockouts or whatever. Worried about that versus sticking to a game plan. If you stick to a certain game plan, the knockouts should come if it's the right game plan. So it's just weird, the conflict between what they said, each one said, DJ and AJ.
So check this out. Kegi said that I would say AJ is more like Frank Bruno than Lennox Lewis. This is why I love the people that follow boxing, man, because they go back as far as we go back. Frank Bruno, I'm assuming you're saying that because you believe that Lennox Lewis is more talented than Frank Bruno. I remember Frank Bruno. Frank Bruno was less talented, and I believe AJ is less talented than Lennox Lewis as well. But I never thought about Frank Bruno in terms of having like mental fragility. So I'm not sure if that's what you're comparing, the Kegi, but let us know what you're thinking about that. Tunnel Vision is in the building. Tunnel, I was checking to make sure that you were in the building because there is someone who challenged my boy Tunnel Vision today. I'm gonna see if he's gonna show up, but he challenged Tunnel Vision to a debate today. And I plan on dropping a link for Tunnel Vision and Terence to join us because I want to hear these guys debate, because Terence hit me up directly and said, I want Tunnel Vision next week. And I said, I got to make it happen. So Terence, if you in the building, you need to show up in the chat because Tunnel Vision is in the building and he wants that smoke. All right, Jay, I'm sorry, man. What were you saying? Jason Williams, we hosting debates night. Hey, we try to give the people what they want. If the people want the debate, we're gonna give the people what they want. That's what it is. What we do on the channel.
Tony say body back. So is it gonna be a TKO? Are you just gonna beat them down, or what you gonna do, Tony? First round knockout.
If Terence showed up, we got to see if Terence is in the building. But yeah, man, go ahead, Jay. What were you talking about in terms of DJ and AJ?
No, I mean with DJ and AJ, I think it just takes time for time to really see. You know, we got to get more than one fight. I think Franklin was a good test because Franklin is a tough fighter. He's a tough customer. You know, as T Ward mentioned earlier. But just one fight, one training, one fight camp is not going to, you're not going to really be able to see what you can do with a fighter. And sometimes you really just can't do shit with a fighter, no matter how great of a trainer you are. If a fighter is set in their ways, no matter what you're trying to do and trying to coach them to, and they're stuck with their old shit, they're going to keep that old shit into them. That's what they have confidence. That's what built them. You know, you're just trying to add on to what they can do already and minimize their flaws, maximize what they're good at. So, I mean, AJ, like I said, I haven't seen the fight fully. Just the highlights I did see. I just know the hop back that I always see Spence do. I saw AJ doing, but I also saw AJ just in the clips I saw, AJ look very stiff. He still looks stiff. You know, he looks stiff, and even a little bit I see he looked timid in that.
Yeah, I can't wait to get the opportunity to see the fight, man, in its totality and see exactly how he looks and kind of get my thoughts on it. But, you know, again, and you mentioned this earlier, Jay, at the end of the day, it's going to take time. I saw improvement in Wilder's game from working with Malik Scott. When he got in trouble, he reverted back to what he was. It takes time to actually take these skills, these things that you're being taught, and apply them in live round fire. You know, Jason, you follow college football. I follow college football. How often have you seen or heard about your quarterback, your running back, your linebackers, your receivers, your cornerbacks executing in practice or executing in a scrimmage, but you don't see it show up in game day? Because it takes time for them to understand and feel comfortable executing under live fire. So similarly in boxing, you're going to see the exact same thing, if not to a greater extent, because boxing, someone is trying to take your freaking head off. It's completely different from football. You know what I mean? So I feel like we gotta see AJ in a couple of more fights. I want to see Deontay Wilder in a couple of more fights to see how they're continuing to progress in their career and their development under the tutelage of their new trainers. That makes sense, Jay?
Yeah, I agree with that. Also, think about this, Greg. Think about the muscle memory aspect of it. If you've been doing a punch a certain way and it's been wrong your entire career.
Yeah.
You get a new fighter coming, you get a new trainer coming, they tell you the correct way of throwing it, you're going to struggle. Yep. And the minute you don't land it, you're going to go back to what you know.
Yep. It's like a shot. Yep. Basketball, anything you've been trained for years to do, you're going to continue to do it. Let me pause right here and pay homage to my girl, Brenda McDonald, who is always sending me emails with great ideas for our channel. So I'm going to stop here and pause and show her some love, man, because, man, she's one of our day oneers, man, and just
facts.
A lot of the ideas that you guys are seeing is coming from Brenda McDonald. And some other folks that are on our channel as well. I need
Jason
to give them some love as well. Jason Williams, the League of Legacy, Tunnel Vision, of course, T Ward, everybody that's been our day oneers. They give us so much information. It's amazing. Jay, anything else we want to talk about in terms of AJ and how he performed yesterday, or do we want to move on to me coming before my people and apologizing for a video that I dropped a week or so ago, or a few days ago? Do we want to do anything else, or do we want to? Because I want to make sure I address this again, Jay.
Yeah, let me just get this out before you come to the people, come to the fire. The kid was talking about who AJ is not ready for, like the likes of Wilder, Fury, Joyce, Usyk, and up and comers like Jared Anderson. I agree with all of those except for Jared Anderson. Just because the way Jared Anderson looked in his last fight, he was getting touched a little bit too much for my liking, and that guy was not on anyone's level, really. You know, the only thing that he has going for him that could probably really scare AJ is his power. So in that right, he could probably get AJ up out of there. But overall, out of think it'll be a good fight with that. I can't just say it'll be a clear cut winner for Jared Anderson.
Okay.
But the floor is yours, Greg.
The floor is mine. So, Jay, you've known me for how long? You've known me for over 20 years, right? When I meet you, like 99?
Let's not date ourselves.
Okay, I think
it's been a minute. It's been a minute.
I'm cool with people knowing how old I am. You can tell by the grays in my face. But you have always known me as a straightforward, straight up guy. I don't have a problem with man, fuck you. I don't have a problem with admitting when I've done something incorrectly or wrong. So let me preface my comments with this. I still believe that the Errol Spence versus Terence Crawford fight is happening because I trust Chicken Talk, aka Lefty. So I trust what he says. So I believe that fight is happening. Where I made a mistake, Jay, and I thought about it after I posted the video, was thinking that Steve Kim had any understanding or knowledge of anything that would be happening with Terence Crawford and Errol Spence. Now, you are aware of the fact that you and I exchanged messages with someone else. I'm going to leave everybody else up out of this because I don't want nobody else to take no shrapnel. But we all believe that was tied to Errol Spence versus Terence Crawford at the time when I did the video. Probably about an hour later, man, as I was checking the comments, I can't remember who said it, but I think someone said Lomo and Devin Haney, and I was like, damn, that, because I had thought about that, Jay, but I was like, that don't really make sense because we already know that fight's happening. But the more I started thinking about Steve Kim and some of the behaviors that we've seen from him in the past, God, I was like, man, that might actually be it. And come to find out that it was, in fact, the Devin Haney versus Vasiliy Lomachenko fight. So I got to come before the people and say, yeah, I fucked that one up. So true brothers ain't perfect. I'm going to come on here and say, yeah, that was my bad. I screwed that one up. I still believe the fight is going to happen. But again, fuck you. I still believe that was going to, you know what? You a sorry ass tag team partner. Boy, you sorry. Anyway, so yeah, I made that mistake, guys, and so on behalf of so that it didn't have anything to do with Jay. That was all my call. So on behalf of AM Sports Media, I made that mistake. That wasn't a great video to do. I should have known better than Steve Kim was actually had any information. So I'm accepting full responsibility for that. That was my fuck up.
Now, see, Greg, what you did on that was what I was thinking last year in August, September. That's how I was with that fight happening. You know, you held me, you pulled me off, but I couldn't stop you because you saw it and you jumped to the top. But I still hope the fight happens. You know, I still hope the fight happens.
Oh, let me pause and say, man, my guy is in the building. What up, Chicken Talk, aka Lefty, is in the building. Let me check what's going on in the chat, because I know they probably roasted me, but. You know, we got people that it's funny because the people that support the channel also roast us, which is very interesting, and it makes me feel like they are truly my friends because the friends because my family and friends, they roast the hell out of me, including you.
You damn right.
If Jerry fights tomorrow, let me see Brenda with the deuces. Shout out to my girl. Let me see. You were working with BLK Prime. That's you wrong for that fentanyl. My guy, Tunnel Vision is not happening. Jason Williams, sources. Jason, I ain't say I had any sources. I told you guys it was your guy Steve Kim. Give me my flowers. Tunnel Vision still believe the fight's not happening. I disagree. Chicken Talk is in the building.
Yeah, I disagree with that one too.
Until the wheels fall off with these sources. No, I just told you who the source was. Steve Kim did say major fight announcement. We were all expecting it to be Spence versus Bud. I thought it was going to be Spence versus Bud because it was a major fight announcement. And we already knew Devin Haney and Vasiliy Lomachenko was happening in May. We forget.
No, not yet, Chicken Talk. We didn't get there yet.
Appreciate your fentanyl. Save the clip. Greg ain't never going to admit being wrong ever again. No, that's not true. I will always admit when I'm wrong. Haney versus Lomo, not exactly a major fight announcement to me, but it's all good. Facts. Big Dose, what's going on with you, bro? You get the pay-per-view numbers yet? Nah, we ain't got to that yet. We're gonna get there though. We're gonna get there. Matter of fact, Chicken Talk, man, we'll probably have you call in for that, man, because I know you guys talked about it. My bad, I wasn't able to attend. Shout out to first of all Chicken Talk and his spaces that he does every Saturday at 11 a.m. Man, I mean, there's so much great information that's on Chicken Talk spacing, man. I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous. So if you want to join later on, Chicken, as we go to the live calls and kind of talk about that, we can save it for then. So I guess that's that with that, man. Shout out Fat Cat. Jay, do you want me to continue to grovel to the people, or do you want to move on to the next topic? I just wanted to make sure I addressed it, man, because I don't want people to think maybe some people didn't see the Lomachenko video that we did, so I wanted to come again and address it.
Nah, see, unlike you, I ain't that much of an asshole. I'm gonna keep pushing the shit going forward, so I'm gonna let you. I'm cool.
Man, what the fuck are you talking about?
I'm cool.
What are you talking about?
I'm cool, fool.
Man, damn. Well, I don't know. I really don't know how we've been cool for 20 years, over 20 years. Because, quite frankly, I don't like you. All right, man, let's go to the...
And I don't like your stinking ass either.
Let's go to the next topic, bro. What's the next topic, man? Where you want to go from here, bro? You want to jump into Vergil Ortiz?
Yeah, let's go and hit on Ortiz, man.
So we know that Vergil Ortiz versus Stanionis is not going to happen now. Jay, what date
Greg,
was it planned
Greg,
for? April 28th?
You lucky we know each other as long as we have, man. Jason Williams want me to keep my foot on your neck. Nah, Jason Williams, I can't do that, man. Greg do a lot. I gotta give him his flowers. Although he fucked up on that video, but I'm glad he came to the people that admit to that.
I hate you. I hate your dog. I hate your cat. I hate the grass that grows in your yard. I hate your house. I hate your paveway. I hate everything about you. Now let's move to the next topic, bruh. So Vergil Ortiz, Jay, what was the date? Was the date April 28th?
So it was fight April 29th.
April 29th. So, so we know
not you
now
too,
that
Jonesy, baby.
That the fight's not going to happen because of, and I can't pronounce the condition, but apparently it occurs because you've been working.
It's rhabdo. That's what I heard. I heard people just calling it rhabdo. It's like rhabdo.
Okay,
something.
We'll call it rhabdo. People want to accuse Vergil Ortiz of doing things that he shouldn't be doing. I'm not going to say that he's doing things that he shouldn't be doing. I don't know that to be the case, Jay. But clearly he's out. This is the second case of having this. So first of all, I'm gonna pause there, Jay. Like, what are your thoughts about that? Because I'm highly disappointed. You know that I'm very high on Vergil Ortiz. I like the kid. I like him as a fighter. I like his style. And would love to have seen him in the ring with Stanionis. Based off what I've seen from his social media posts, it sounds like to me that essentially he's saying that this fight is still going to happen. It's just not going to happen right now. Now, what does that mean in the interim? Does it mean that Stanionis is going to face someone else on April 29th because Golden Boy won the purse bid for this fight? Does it mean that, Stanionis is not going to fight and they'll fight sometime in May or June or July? Because I don't know how long this thing is going to affect them. But what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, my initial thought was just like, damn, again, this shit sucks. Because we were excited about that fight. We were excited for that one because like two young, up and coming young guns in the 147-pound division. We're like, that's going to be a great fight. It's going to do a lot. So with that happening, now it's just going to be interesting. Like you said, we don't know how long he may be out, because, for all reports, it could be something minor time off, or it could be something major that could be career threatening. We do know it's life threatening, based on some of the stuff they said about Robdo. So I'm just hoping for the best for him. Like Spence came out and said, nah, it's something real. It's real. It didn't say anything about no PEDs like some others have said as well, so I'm just going to withhold judgment as far as the reasoning behind that. I'm quite sure if it continues to happen, it's going to spark more questions and more testing and things of that nature there. I just hope he's healthy, gets healthy on that. Now, what is up for Stanionis? I don't think he's going to have a replacement fighter of like any top caliber, because if I'm Boots, I would want that fight, but I'm not going to take that fight on 3 weeks notice, 3.5, 4 weeks notice.
Boots can't even make the weight right now.
Yeah. And like we said, we see him in training. I'm not doing that. You know, we know your favorite fighter, Blair Cobb. He already said he's not taking short notice fights no more. After Alexis Rocha beat his ass.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't Alexis Rocha. It was shit. Yeah, it was Rocha. Was it Rocha that beat his ass?
Yeah, Rocha is the one he lost to.
Yeah, that's the one he said it was a replacement when he fought Rocha or whatever. So we know he ain't gonna do that. So it might just get pushed back till they do a little bit more, testings on Ortiz and see if he's gonna be cleared to come back. Let's say the fight happens in June 17th, maybe.
Yeah,
as a co-main.
I can't say that I'm withholding any judgment because I don't know enough about the condition to say whether or not it's tied to anything. So I'm just hoping for a speedy recovery for that young man. That was going to be a great fight. I had Vergil Ortiz winning that fight. The only knock that I can ever make against Vergil Ortiz is that he wasn't ready to take the Terence Crawford fight. Terence Crawford fans can boast about that, and rightfully so, because at the end of the day, if you put in that position, you should be willing to take the fight. So he didn't want to smoke, but outside of that, man, I like what I'm seeing from Vergil Ortiz, and I hope for a speedy recovery.
Yeah,
we've heard people we've heard different outlets talk about the fact that it could be Boots Ennis. I never thought Boots was going to be the fighter that was taking his place. We saw the video of Boots Ennis. Face looked a little fat, a little bit fat, but when you look at him in training camp, it looks a little fat compared to what he is when he's at 147. My guess is Boots is somewhere in the 160s, which makes a whole lot of sense considering he's not actually training for a fight currently. So there's no way he's going to get down to make an April 29 fight. Now, if people are talking about maybe, a fight getting pushed out for Stanionis maybe a month or 6 weeks later, then yeah, possibly Boots Ennis could make that fight. But how would that work, Jay? You got the interim IBF champion fighting the interim WBA champion. So what do they come? The winner becomes the unified interim champion? Like how does that work? So I don't think that fight is going to happen. And I'm going to transition into the next topic, Jay, which is Errol Spence said that Gervonta Ennis should be the next in line for Stanionis or Villa, but I'm going to focus on Gervonta Ennis. So I didn't like the comment from Errol Spence, not because of anything, not because of any issue I have with Errol Spence, but because I know how people can take it and spin it. So we know that Gervonta Ennis is the #1 contender in the mandatory for Errol Spence's IBF welterweight championship. And people will take that and try to run with it and say Errol Spence is trying to figure out a way to eliminate one of his contenders, whether it's WBA champion Stanionis or IBF champion Boots Ennis. And so that was my concern with it. If Errol Spence was saying this about anybody outside of his division, I wouldn't have any issue with it. And I don't necessarily have an issue with him, but just the comment, like for me, it's like, yo, don't speak on any of that stuff, specifically when you're not speaking on the actual fight with Terence Crawford. Leave that stuff alone and just focus on making that fight with Terence Crawford. That is the reason why I didn't like the comment. Again, some people got a little pissed in the comments saying that, oh, he could say this or he could say that, or blase squaze. But for me, I didn't like it. Jay, what are your thoughts on that? And Chad, I want to get you guys' thought on that as well. Now that you're hearing us articulate it a little bit more, and if you have any questions in terms of what I'm saying, then we can go into it a little bit deeper. But Jay, what are your thoughts on that?
No, I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I mean, because it wasn't like he just put it out there himself. He was someone asked him about it.
No, I get it. I get it. I just don't answer.
When voluntary.
But
but if you don't answer, then they're gonna be like, well, people gonna make up any narrative for anything.
Jay,
you know what I'm saying?
But Jay, there's a bunch of shit that people ask Errol Spence on Twitter, bruh. He don't answer, bruh. Don't answer that shit. I wouldn't answer that shit.
I get that. I don't have a problem with him answering because it's not like he was doing anything like real foul or anything like that. And I don't want him talking about. I really don't want him talking about the Bud fight. I don't want Bud talking about the Spence fight. I don't want him talking about their negotiations out in public at all. I like that it's quiet because I now just sit and wait because I don't have nothing to go off of, no speculation, none of this bullshit out there like that was done before. Because I don't think major business moves happen in the public. They happen behind closed doors. You know what I'm saying? So I don't mind him talking about that because he's not saying anything about the butt fight. He's just talking about, hey, that'd be a good scrap. Because he was talking about the whole Ortiz thing. He said it was going to be a good scrap before Ortiz had to pull out.
Yeah. I get it. If I'm him, I'm not playing matchmaker. You could say a fight is going to be a good fight, but I'm not playing matchmaker. Now, in my opinion, if I'm Errol Spence, do I hope that fight happens? Absolutely. Can I eliminate my two toughest opposition at the weight class? Absolutely. If I chose to stay at the weight class, absolutely. But at the same time, I feel like Spence is not staying at 147 pounds unless it's Terence Crawford.
Hell no.
I think he's gone. So
I agree.
Most people would say, well, this really doesn't matter because at the end of the day, he's going to go to 154 pounds. My problem is when you give the Terence Crawford fans any ammunition, it's clear to me that they'll take the most minute comment and turn it into the biggest ordeal you'll ever want to see in your life. So that's the reason why I'm just like, man, don't give these guys no ammo because they're going to take it, load it into the clip, and shoot it back at us. And I don't feel like deflecting bullets that aren't even real. You gotta sit up here and deflect things that aren't even real, just things that are fabricated. Or
I hear you on that
exaggerated.
standpoint.
Yeah. So that was my thoughts on it, Jay. Anything else you got on that comment, man, or that topic, or do we want to transition to something else?
No, we can try. I figured we might transition straight to about Boots since we're already talking about Boots.
Yeah,
about
let's do
Boots
that,
saying
man.
that he believes the main event.
Yeah, man. So do you want me to comment? Do you want me to summarize it for the folks, or do you want to? I'll go ahead and summarize.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Yeah, because I'm good at it, and unfortunately, you're not.
Here we go again, folks.
So I'm just fucking.
Hey, folks, chat. Do we need to bring this mofo back to the table?
No, I don't need to come back to the table. So Gervonta Ennis did a video, an interview. So he did one interview, bro. I think it was with YSM, but I think the video that I'm talking about was with some different outlet. But essentially, he was talking about the fact that he feels like at this current moment, he is a main eventer, doesn't necessarily want to be a cold main eventer anymore. Think he's gotten to the level now where he can carry a card. And I thought that was interesting. So we did a video on that. And I think we were in alignment, but I definitely want to get the chat's opinion on this. So I'm going to pause here for a little bit after we talk about this and get their opinion. But so Gervonta Ennis feels like that he is someone that can carry a card that could, I guess, possibly carry a pay-per-view. In my opinion, Jay, based off what I've seen of Gervonta Ennis so far, he is not ready to actually carry a card. It really depends on what it is. If you're talking about a pay-per-view card, no. The answer is just simply no. If it's a Showtime card, depending on the opponent, then yeah, I can see him carrying a card with Stanionis. I can see him carrying a card with Vergil Ortiz. Can he carry a card with Villa? I mean, maybe on Showbox, right? But not like your normal Showtime where they're like really putting money behind it. Boots is a very quiet guy. He's a reserved guy. He reminds me of Errol Spence and Terence Crawford. He's not one that's very vocal. And so that's perfectly fine. But then you have to have other attributes that sell yourself. People have to be interested in your story. That is what makes you a main eventer, not your skills, not your titles, none of that, not the amount of money that you gotten from a fight. None of that makes you a main eventer. So based off the criteria, you are someone who the people are interested in. You have an interested in engaging story, something of that nature. I don't see that in Boots Ennis, and therefore I do not believe he's a main eventer right now. But I guess it depends on what you're defining as a main eventer. So, Jay, what are your thoughts on that? And then I'm going to pause and take a look at the chat and see what they have to think on Gervonta Ennis and whether or not he is a main eventer.
Yeah, no, I was just reading some of the chats while you were speaking on that. Brandon McDonald, damn. She said he's useless.
Who's useless?
Damn. Boots.
Yeah, Brenda's not a fan of Boots. I don't know why.
I see that. I mean, I agree pretty much looking at the chat. You know, everyone's pretty much agreeing what you just stated and what we talked about, you know, offline and everything about this. Like, Boots is potentially a great fighter. You know, he's potentially the next great fighter at 147 for this era. But he's not known enough to be a pay-per-view. You know, like you said, maybe Showbox, yeah, but he also has to have a good dance partner. You know, he can't just be the one that strongholds it. He couldn't do what Tank did. He can't fight someone like Tank fighting Hector Garcia. No one really knew Hector Garcia. But that fight did well because of Tank. And then what they did on the undercard, they had up Boots, you know, Andrade, Speedy Rashid on the undercard as well. But Tank was the face of that card.
Absolutely.
Boots doesn't have that type of Tank. He doesn't have that type of following. Like someone just said, you know, Boots is definitely known by us, the hardcore boxing fans, of course. You know, but outside of that, he's not known like that. You know, so right now, he's not a pay-per-view star. You know, I don't think he could be a main event unless it's on something on free TV. You know, like someone mentioned, like you mentioned, Showbox. Someone else mentioned like Showbox on here as well. So I mean, that's how I could see that. You know, he has to get some more notable fights under his belt and some dramatic fights and put his name out there and beat some top competition. You know, we're waiting to see him fight those top names. You know, he didn't look the best against Karan. You know, although he won, you know, he pretty much won every round. He didn't look what the expectations were, where he overrated himself. He oversold what he did, what he was going to do, and didn't deliver. So it's going to take a little while.
Yeah. I think Boots, I'm very like Jason Williams said, only boxing fans know him. I agree with that. I'm a fan. I can't wait to see him get back into the ring. I can't wait to see, but I'm a fan of a lot of guys though. So maybe I should make that statement, but I can't wait to see him get back in the ring, but mostly because I want to see how he performs now. As you step up the level of competition, I'm going to use a couple of names as an example. As you step up the level of competition, and this is the reason why I said don't overdo it as we talk about Gervonta Ennis, because as you overdo it and you step up the competition, people are going to start to unfairly and unjustly criticize him. And it is because when you step up the level of competition, you don't look as good. And I'm going to use two examples. Keith, one-time Thurman. He won one time after you started to step up the competition. He's still a great fighter, still a really good fighter, Jay, right? But he wasn't just destroying guys once he stepped up the level of competition. And then I'm gonna tell you another person, and this is our guy, Errol Spence Jr. As Errol stepped up the level of competition, there weren't as many knockouts. Mikey Garcia didn't get knocked out.
He just beat the shit out of him.
He beat him clearly, but he didn't get knocked out. Sean Porter was a tough fight. You know, he didn't knock out Danny Garcia, although I felt like he was dominant in that fight. He didn't knock out Ugas, even though I felt like he was fairly dominant in that fight. So as your level of competition moves up, you don't look as spectacular. Now, the only exception to that is Terence Crawford, because his level of competition has never stepped up. Ooh.
I was waiting on the zinger. I felt the zinger coming down.
Damn, that was cold. That was cold. But yeah, man. As you step up the level of competition, man, that's gonna impact you, man. So, Gervonta Ennis, I think I can't wait to see him in the ring with you know those higher level fighters and see how he performs. See if he does what we saw Keith Thurman do. See if he does what we saw Errol Spence do and continue to win and be to some extent, you know, dominant, but at the same time, maybe not as dominant as you were when you were facing that lower competition. Shout out to Motorsports Sports. Salute to Jason and Greg. Great content, guys. Appreciate you, bro. Thank you. Jay, anything else you want to share on that, man? I kind of lost my train of thought there, bud. All knockouts, but opposition was doo-doo. Jonesy, baby. Fentanyl public relation, bud, is a bum basher. Big Dose 513. He stopped Ugas. Ain't that a KO? Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't mention that one. It was a TKO, but it still counts as a KO. He broke Ugas down completely.
Yeah. Big Dose. I ain't perfect, man. Sometimes when you're doing this off the cuff, you miss something. Jason Wynn Bud knocks off all of those names, i.e. Porter. Yeah, whatever.
Okay, Jason Williams. So you saying Spence didn't stop Ugas? Well, Bud didn't stop Porter. Porter daddy stopped Porter.
Hey, I want to point out something Harrison Brooks said. I'm sorry, Greg. I disagree. Spence changing grown men lives in that ring without the KO. That's worse. That's a fair point. My point is he wasn't just knocking the guys out as fast, Harrison Brooks, but I get your point. That makes sense. Brendan McDonald, man down, and one time are nonsense names. Spence did not stop Ugas. The doctor stopped the fight. That's the same thing. Jason Williams. And say it with your chest, Greg. Butt stops. All those names. I refuse. All right, man. Jason Williams, my guy. What else we got, Jay? Man, we dropped another video. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we can talk about since people kind of like cap a little bit. What your boy said about Shakur being able to have the has a power to knock out Tank.
Yeah, so Nate Jones, former cornerman of Floyd Mayweather, on his channel stated that not only could Tank knock out Shakur Stevenson, but Shakur Stevenson could also knock out Tank Davis. Now, Jones is very high on Shakur Stevenson, which I understand. I don't blame anybody for being high on Shakur Stevenson. Shakur. I mean, he's definitely a talent. But Shakur has not demonstrated anything at any weight class to believe that he would knock out Tank Davis. He does not look like a fighter that has a whole lot of power. He is someone that can miss and make you pay. But Jones' logic is, it's the shot that you don't see that knocks you out. And he believes that Shakur Stevenson can deliver that shot. Now, although I do agree that it's the shot that you don't see that can knock you out, the problem is getting in a shot on Tank Davis that he simply does not see at all. And then you also having enough power to deliver that shot where it will knock him out, because, that's going to require a little torque. I just don't see Shakur Stevenson being able to do that, Jay. So Chat and Jay, what are your thoughts on that?
No, I agree. And I like Shakur. I think Shakur is going to be one of the next great fighters. I really do. I like his defense.
He looks like it.
He's a smart boxer. My only gripe is the power. Not even accumulation of power shots neither, because he's not stopping people like that either. So that's why when they say when Nate Jones said that he could knock out Tank, I mean, it's boxing, anyone can get knocked out, but to be so confident that can happen like that, I question it, because like you said, Shakur isn't knocking people out at 130. He's at 135 now, bigger fighters, stronger fighters. And at 130, he was more of a bully. He was the weight bully there. He was always bigger than those guys. I mean, when he fought Valdez, he looked like they were in three different weight classes. He's not going to look like that against Tank. And also, Tank's going to be throwing fire back at him. So he's going to be less likely to really probably engage with Tank in a firefight or to try to really knock Tank out. He'll probably try to outpoint him, outbox Tank, which is the smartest thing to do, because I think he could probably outbox Tank, possibly. Yeah. That's how I think he beats Tank. I don't think he beat Tank by a KO. No. Now, Tank could beat him either way, I think. Was that?
Boy, I don't know. I think the thing about it is, I don't know if Tank can outbox him, but he can damn sure sleep him. And that's the thing. Like, I don't know if Tank needs that. Tank. So when I look at Shakur and I look at Tank, I feel like Shakur is a better boxer, but only by a little bit. So then Tank's power becomes the equalizer. Like, you're not going to just box circles around Tank. That's not going to happen. So I mean, it's an interesting fight. Now, can Shakur is so defensively sound? Can he continue to avoid those shots? If he can outpoint them.
Exactly.
But at the same time, boy, it's dangerous to be throwing shots in between those shots that Tank Davis is throwing. So that's an interesting fight, man, that I would love to see.
Yeah, I see Shakur only beating Tank by a UD. I don't see him knocking him out. I see Tank knocking Shakur out, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's for sure. I mean, everyone sees Tank knocking damn near anyone he fights out. Is a high probability.
Take his head right off his damn shoulders. So let me pause right here, Jay, because I think this is the first time I've done this today. We got 107 people in the building. We got 50 likes. If you get the opportunity, please hit the like button or the dislike button if you don't like the content, but make sure that you are engaging. And then if you're new to the channel, this is AM Sports Media, the Angry Man Podcast. Go ahead and subscribe and join the family. We are always dropping fresh boxing content. As a matter of fact, Jay, I've been working on the Errol Spence documentary. I've been working on it Friday. I've been working on it today. And I suspect in the next few days, it'll be ready to drop. So the folks that are in the chat, please be on the lookout for that and support it. It may be information that you've seen before. Maybe it's not, but it's going to be presented in a fresh and unique way, hopefully. And so I'm hoping that you guys will enjoy it. All right, Jay. Man, we almost at an hour, man, and I still have not seen Terence in the chat saying that he was in the building. He talked all that shit last week, said he wanted that smoke, and now I can't find him. He ain't responded.
What fan? What kind of fan? No, I mean, I'm not gonna go there. No, I'm not gonna do that.
He's a Terence Crawford fan. I know where you're going, but I think you were about to say he ducking and just like Terence Crawford ducking. I think that's what you were about to say, but
you know what it is? He's on another channel right now debating.
Oh, maybe that's
he took another channel. He took another debate.
Maybe that's what it is. So Jay, let's go ahead and open up the phone lines so we can get our folks off in here.
Hopefully, Chicken will be one of our first calls so we can talk about the numbers and stuff.
Yeah, Chicken, man. Go ahead and jump in here, Chicken, man. Let's talk about those numbers, man. Y'all guys see that the phone lines are not open. Got the phone line in the message. Jay, do you want to type the phone line? You don't know how to pin it, dude. I think maybe I have to pin it. Hold on.
Yeah, I think you have to pin it since you got the control of it.
No, actually, really, you could pin it. You just don't know how to, and that's fine.
Nah, in this one.
It's fine, man. Just say you don't know how to do the shit.
Just because you messed up, you don't have to put me in the middle of that fray. Just take
you in the middle of what? Just say you don't know how to do it.
So Edward Torres, I agree. Shakur is special. He's different, but we're talking about if he can his probability of knocking Tank out. You know, he's special as far as like his boxing IQ, his defense, the whole nine stuff for his power.
Haney is really good. Shakur is really good. Tank is really good. Like I like all three of those fighters.
Yep.
I like all three of them. I want to see all three of them fight. Now, in the event that they start ducking each other, people going to start getting mad on this channel because I'm going to call it out.
Hey, Jason Williams, you right, man. It's Sunday. I'm a little tired from the XFL thing yesterday, so have a little bit of forgiveness in my heart, more than I should.
Man, fuck your heart.
Bastard.
Fuck your heart. We got somebody calling in 203. You are on the Angry Man Podcast with Jason and Greg. Who we got in the building? Oh, they dropped. Oh, and they calling back in. Let's see if we get them back. You're on the Angry Man Podcast with Jason and Greg. Damn, who is this? They keep calling in and dropping. That might be Terence. He work up the nerves and then he quits.
Yep.
You are on the Angry Man Podcast with Jason and Greg. Who do we have in the building?
Man, all I know is I was hanging out with my family. We're having a good old time. We were chilling. It was real good. And I had to cut everything short, tell everybody I had to leave, because I had to get home because I supposedly was called out by somebody. And I get over here, and that person ain't here, and I don't know what's going on.
It sounds like he ducking you, Tunnel.
Yeah.
Tunnel, I feel like you getting ducked, bruh. He told me. Listen.
Yo, all I know is that people got to understand, like, when I come on here and I put out information or I'll make my viewpoints, the number one thing I always do is I come with facts. Yep. I'll tell you, certain things that happened and step by step, what exactly happened, and whatever viewpoint that I put out there, I back it up with facts. Now if you have a different interpretation of those facts, of those things that happened, maybe you can do that, but you're not going to refute what I'm saying because I don't make up things. That's the number one thing I don't. do is make up things. That's why when I come up here, you might have a certain opinion. You might say, okay, I don't agree with this, or, you know, that might be this instead, or it might mean this instead. But you can't refute, you know, what I've said as far as, you know, what actually did happen, you know. And I know my viewpoint sometimes different than other people's, but, you know, you're going to have to come with facts, not with emotions, you know. And anybody who's on this that see me on other platforms prior or years back know that I was saying Crawford wasn't going to fight these dudes. I was saying that, hey, Crawford, you know, he wants to take easier opponents. That's, you know, that's what his game plan is. Like, you know, I used to always call him, you know, top rank 2.0. That's what I used to always, and this was before, while everybody thought that he wanted all the smoke. This is when I was saying it, because I was looking at his patterns and I was looking at what he does. That's what I do. I look at patterns and I look at what you do. So I don't care what anybody says out of their mouths, whether it be Bob Arum, whether it be Eddie Hearn, whether it be anybody, because I see their patterns, I see how they work, and that's what I go by.
Dude, I'm the same way. I'm all about patterns, bro. I'm all about connecting dots. I'm all about reading tea leaves. That's all this channel is really about. And sometimes when you read the tea leaves, it's correct, and sometimes it's not correct. But you use the facts that are available to you to come to a conclusion, and that's the best we can without actually being in the room.
Yeah, and that's why even when, and the funny thing was, even with the Shakur Stevenson thing, is it wasn't even necessarily quote directly about, you know, Shakur Stevenson. It was about just saying that, hey, when it comes to him, there seems to be a double standard, because when certain people have done certain things to him, people have called him ducking. But when his side, like I'll say it again, when his side has done something similar, it hasn't been called ducking. And then also just, you know, putting it out there, letting people know that, hey, you are signed to Top Rank. So you are being moved a certain way too, just like his other fighters, something that he probably himself doesn't even realize. That's not trashing him or talking negative about him in any way. It's just saying, hey, you're saying something, but understand, you know, you're given that, you know, you're the same thing is being done with you as well. But it doesn't mean that I'm saying he's scared or that he won't fight anybody or anything like that. But there still are certain things that are questionable when, you know, that he said or he's done lately. Just like you said, little tea leaves. Like, you know, when it comes to, you know, to Frank, you're saying, hey, you know, pay attention to this other dude down there because, you know what I'm saying, you know, what's it called? You're not ready for me. But then at the same time, you were down to fight Colbert. And, you know, Frank has done a lot more than Colbert. You know, that's something, you know, that you have to look at and say, what's going on? Or when De Los Santos is trying to come at you, you have to look at the little things, but you still have to look at it and say, is there something there? Maybe not. But I've still got my ears perked up now.
Yeah, but you also got to look at the fact that after the Rivera fight, he was talking like he was interested in actually fighting Frank. And now, all of a sudden, he needs to focus on Keyshawn Davis. That also doesn't make any sense.
That's what I'm saying, though. That's the part I was saying, though. Like, you know, him saying that doesn't make sense, because it's easy to be gun-ho when a fight, quote, can't be made, where you can talk all the junk with Tank Davis when you know, okay, Tank is going after this person or whatever it is. But then somebody, you know, is down to fight you, and a fight can be made. You have to question it. Why didn't you go hard to take on Hector Garcia? That would have been a unification for 3 belts, and he beat the guy that you said that you wanted to fight so bad. So why did you not push for that fight? And, you know, which would have been your biggest fight at that time. Why were you cool with fighting this Asian dude, but you didn't go after De Los Santos, who was coming off a major win, a major stoppage? Why didn't you push for that? Why did you brush that off? As much as you might like the fighters, I like Shakur. Like, I was the number one person. I was defending Shakur when people were trashing him, when he was, you know, when he wasn't getting aggressive against that. I forget that the black dude, I don't know what he's Spanish or whatever it is. And people were saying that, oh, he was boring in that fight. Bradley was saying how boring he was in that fight. And I'm like, nah, that dude has mad power. If you make a mistake, he will flatline you. You know, Shakur's doing the right thing. And what did that dude do the next fight? He moved up in weight, fought against Berchelt. And what happened? He flatlined Berchelt. So he did what he needed to do in that fight. So, you know, if I might talk positive about you one way, but if I see something, I'm still going to talk about it. You know, I stay fully focused on reality. That's what the whole tunnel vision thing is. I stay fully focused on reality. I keep emotions out of it. And I don't let the love of boxing also blind me to reality. So it's just there's certain things that's going on, and him being tutored, by Terence Crawford, I mean, you also have to look at that. So and you sign the top rank. I mean, I have to still look at these things. I'm not saying anything as of now, but they're just little things I'm putting in, and they might end up being nothing, but they might also add up to something major, like it ended up being with Terence Crawford.
Yep.
So that's the only thing. But so just if anybody wants to debate me, that's cool, but understand you're not going to be able to come up here and debate me with emotions. Doesn't win debates. You're going to have to come up here with facts, and I come up here with facts. And especially when it comes to someone like Shakur, man, you better come up with some facts, because I got ammo for days. You know what I mean? And I'm not even talking about literally him, just with the certain things, the certain moves he's made. And I'm not saying he won't fight anybody. I'm not saying he's skilled. He's a talented fighter. I'm not saying anything about him. I'm just saying there's certain things that should be questioned, and he's not special. And when I say special, he's not special. He's not above criticism. It seems that for some reason when it comes to Shakur, it's like he's above criticism, and whatever he's done is just praised. He's about to fight this random dude from Japan, and no one's going to trash that fight. His last fight, he did fight somebody coming off a loss. No one trashed that fight. These are just facts. He could have went to an organization where they had Tank, where they had Gary Russell Jr. at 26, Tank at 130. You had it was the two top prospects was him and Colbert. He went a different direction towards basically at that time, a weaker, basically, a weaker space. That's where he went. These are just facts. This is just the reality. Maybe they gave him a better deal. He felt comfortable with it. There could be a million reasons why he did that, but that still did happen. And that by itself might not mean anything, but as different things keep piling up, it's putting me to the point now where my ears are perked up now. Now my ears are perked up. But I still think he's a talented fighter,
Yeah.
And as far as him and the whole him knocking out Tank thing, Shakur's not knocking out Tank at all. It's not happening. When Shakur fights, he's tentative when it comes to power punchers, and there's nothing wrong with that. But just like with that one dude,
smart.
He's tentative. He'll beat you down. He'll bust you up. He'll jab you up. He'll have his defense. He'll win an easy 12-round decision against you. He'll do all that. But he's very cautious when he's fighting against power punches. So this whole thing of him knocking out, which is nothing wrong with his style. So this whole thing of knocking out Tank, that's why I don't see that happening because of that. He's very cautious. He doesn't know. Everybody has their talents. Tank is able to break you down and stop you. He can face a power puncher, stay out of harm's way, physically break you down, soften you up, and stop you. Shakur doesn't know how to do that, which is fine. He has his own skills and his own talents too. It's just we always want to brush away what Tank does and minimize him and then praise these other guys and put them in such high pedestals as this is so much more skilled than him. And by any means, and everybody is saying that he can outbox him because, quote, Tank has been losing rounds. By all means, you show me the fights where on the cards from the official judges, Tank was losing the fight when he knocked out the dudes that he knocked out. Because a lot of those rounds, people keep saying that he's been losing. He's been winning those rounds. He's been up comfortably in pretty much all those fights except the Rolly fight. He was up by one round. So all this, quote, people are going to outbox him, go look at those cards. That's all I got to say when it comes to that. And when you come for me, make sure you're coming for me with facts. That's all I'm saying. Because emotions ain't going to win you no debate.
Yeah, so I don't think anybody in general is going to outbox Tank. I say Shakur Stevenson has the level of skills to outbox Tank, but outside of Shakur, Devin is very rangy. Maybe he could, but outside of those two guys, and the thing about it is the gap, if there is a gap, is not very great. And really, for me, it's more so about range with Devin Haney than it is about for Shakur Stevenson. But Tank brings that equalizer because those guys are very close in skills, in my opinion. But Tank just brings that power as well, man. And that's the thing that just you gotta give credit to. But let me pause right here real quick. Tunnel vision. I saw number one. I just text Terence to see where he was, and this mofo still ain't responded. He is ghost. And then I saw Arthur Carter talking about he wants that. Arthur, you sure you want this smoke? You just heard Tunnel Vision talking. You sure you want to come on here and get this smoke, Arthur Carter? Because Arthur Carter is always in the comment section. This is my guy as well. He and Michael Price are always in the comment section. They don't agree with anything we say. But they are subscribers to the channel, so if they want to come on here and get this Tunnel Vision smoke, Tunnel say he got smoke. I mean, he run up the chimney, as our guy said from
Ja Morant.
No, that wasn't Ja Morant. It was Damian Lillard. So, Arthur, you want that smoke?
Ja
you sure?
Morant, that's we run up the smoke. We run up the chimney.
Oh,
that was Ja that said that the playoff game.
Well, I think he probably got it from. I think he, motherfucker. That's what he said in the rap against Shaq, man. What are you talking about? He said that shit like 2-3 years ago. So when did Ja Morant say it? Man, I hate this fuck face. Anyway,
Didn't Tunnel Vision talk about emotions? There you go.
This ain't no emotion. I hate you. There's nothing wrong with that. That's facts, not emotion.
And I hate you too.
Now Morant needs to focus on keeping himself being locked up or getting put under the damn ground. That's what he needs to be focused on and stop trying to be a gangster.
Exactly. I don't think Ja Morant was the one that said ran up the chimney, though. I believe that was Damian Lillard that he said
all that drinking he's doing.
The Shaq rap. But
now all that drinking, he's going to end up losing a good $200 million in the back end of his career from all that getting twisted and doing all that stupid stuff.
Yeah, Modern King Boxing said hate is a strong word, but it's a true word though. Modern King Boxing, I hate this nigga. Just like Michael Jordan hate Isaiah Thomas.
Oh hell no!
The same way.
You ain't Michael Jordan though. You far from it.
I'm the Michael Jordan of this team, you son of a bitch. Anyway.
Shit.
Well, maybe you Michael Jordan. I don't know. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day.
Hey, Tunnel, we trying to get you another opponent since the other opponent ducked out. We're trying to see if you can get you another opponent.
This motherfucker's a duck. This motherfucker's a
I don't know. I'm not sure why. Yeah, I'm not honestly when it came to that, I'm not sure why he was even getting like I didn't really listen. I kind of caught the end of when he was talking. I didn't really go back to listen to what he was saying because I was gonna do that, but I ended up not doing that. But yeah, I'm not really sure. What the whole thing was him getting, emotional about that just due to, like I said, my main point of that was like, let's keep the same energy when it comes to everybody. We can't say, oh, this one person is ducking. My main point was if one team does something, we can't say, oh, he's ducking this guy. But then that same exact person, his team does the same thing, but then we don't say, oh, he's ducking. Like, and I'm just saying it's about being just real with it, about being, equal with it. You just can't do that. That's the only thing that's the only issue that I had. I'm seeing the same thing happening from both camps, but people are treating it one way when it comes to one person. It's not an attack on him. It's not an attack on his skills. It's not an attack on any of that because I think he's a really skilled person. But at the same time, let's keep it the same because I don't see that same energy. We'll piss and trash on Tank Davis for taking on a champion in Hector Garcia, a future Hall of Famer in Santa Cruz, where he goes down. Unlike Ryan Garcia, he didn't need a catch weight. He went all the way back down to 130 to fight Santa Cruz for his bout. He didn't need to come up 1-2 pounds. He'll fight guys like that. I remember what people were saying before the Barrios fight. Everybody was saying, I don't know what's going to happen with this. I don't know. That's what people were saying before that fight. Afterwards, everybody was brushing it off like he wasn't nothing, as if Barry was just soft or wasn't in a real competition. We'll trash those opponents, but then we'll praise somebody for taking on a JoJo Diaz, who was beat up by Gary Russell at 126. We'll praise somebody for taking on Linares, who was stopped on multiple occasions. We'll literally trash Tank for taking on Gamboa, and then the next fight praise somebody for taking on Gamboa. That doesn't make any sense. We're going to praise somebody. what's it called, for taking on a random Japanese dude that we've never heard of before. We're gonna praise somebody for taking on somebody coming off a loss. It's not fair. It's not fair. I'm saying let's be equal. And we always say, oh, Tank needs to fight somebody. Tank needs to fight somebody. When are they gonna say this about these dudes? Like Devin Haney put himself into a space where he could fight Kambosos, now he's fighting Lomachenko. Okay, when are we gonna start saying that Shakur needs to fight somebody? You know, when are we gonna say that? But for some reason, the people that he's faced is adequate. Like no, like if we're gonna treat Tank a certain way, or we're gonna treat this other guy a certain way, we got to do the same thing with everybody. We got to start being equal with the way we're talking about people. Because right now, from all the platforms, that's not what I'm seeing. I'm seeing people being treated differently. And that's not right. And to me personally, it's not right. And I'm going to speak my mind on it, regardless of what anybody wants to say. You know, period.
I feel you, man. I feel you. I didn't drop the link into the chat, man, because Motorsport said he wanted that smoke. Arthur Carter said he wanted that smoke, but I don't see nobody logging in, man. With all the folks that want the smoke, they say they want the smoke, man. Tunnel Vision say he here, man.
He ready.
He say he want your smoke. I keep seeing him.
Hey, Tunnel.
Why he ain't logging in?
Hey, Tunnel, who do you think would have been a good fight for Shakur at 135? Now, I know, it's been rumored that some fighters said no, that avoided him, it seems. We know about Pitbull, Cruz, which I really wouldn't want to see that fight anyway. But who in your mind, who would you think would be a good test for him? That you'd be like, okay, Shakur is here at 135-pound division now.
Okay, yeah, the first thing was the 130 before he had moved up. Like the number one fighter that he should have been pushing for before he moved up was Hector Garcia, because Hector Garcia wanted to fight him. And that would have been a unification, in that particular weight class. If that fight, even if they had made the attempt to make that fight and it couldn't be made for whatever reason, all right, cool. But at that time, he was down. He wanted to do that fight. His team said, no, Bob Arum said, I'm not paying for that fight. I'm not putting up the money for that fight. That's what his team said when it came to that. That would have been the best fight he could have did at that time. At 135 pounds, if it could have been made, the fight that could have been made would have been De Los Santos. I think that would have been a bigger fight. My only issue with him was him brushing off De Los Santos, because the reality is, like I said, people are moved a certain way. Top Rank wasn't paying for that fight. That's just the reality of it. Top Rank wasn't going to pay for him to fight De Los Santos. They weren't going to get that fight for him. They already had a plan for him. Even with the Eastside Cruz, that's why I said even with the Eastside Cruz, I don't think they're going to do that fight, because they already have a plan for him. The plan was for him to fight a fight like the Japanese dude that he's fighting, get his feet wet in the weight division, and then after getting his feet wet in the weight division, then have him fight. Man, we all know how Top Rank is. They probably want him to fight Lomachenko for that next fight. That's what they want him to do. And I'm just saying that because, Devin is super skilled. Devin Haney could win every single round in that fight, and he could still get robbed. That's the only thing with this. When you're coming into a fight like this and you don't have an extension signed with Top Rank, they'll rob you. So unless they have some kind of deal where he wins and he takes on Shakur Stevenson, because that's all they've been talking about is Shakur and the winner of that fight. So they're going to put you into an easier route to get undisputed. That's basically what they have. So that's what I believe they're looking for Shakur. Just like with Lomachenko, when Devin Haney was there, what they did was they made a request so they could fight Campbell for the WBC. And they got the WBC bout. And then after getting the WBC bout, they had Lopez get out of that whole tournament that they had going on and had him go get the IBF belt. And after they had the IBF belt, then he had them fight each other, which puts him to a space where he controls everything. So he's not going to risk anything happening. The Japanese dude, that's what the newest people, whatever, they got their understanding going on over there. So that's still it's still in the family. You know what I mean? That's how they do things. But the best fight that was actually available to him at that time, though, I believe would have been the De Los Santos fight. And I'm not saying that he wouldn't beat these guys. I'm saying that these were the better fights, and these are fights that his team weren't going to make. I'm not saying him, so people need to stop getting emotional about it. I'm saying these are just the moves his team were not going to make. That's how they move. That's how Top Rank moves. So just because I might like Shakur Stevenson, I'm not going to close my eyes to the way that Top Rank moves. This is what they do. You know what I mean? Yeah. You can't. When it comes to Eddie Hearn, when Devin signed with Eddie Hearn, I knew he wasn't going to get any fights because Eddie Hearn has a major issue with getting fights done. Wilder versus Anthony Joshua. He had He had Demetrius Andres. He had everybody at all those European dudes at 168 signed to him. He didn't get him any of those fights. He had Canelo Alvarez signed to him. He didn't get him that fight. When it came to Tank Davis versus what's that kid's name from Philly? Whatever his name is. They could have did that a unification that was, Farmer. With that unification that could have been done. They came up, they said they were going to give Farmer $2 million to fight Gervonta Tank Davis in unification on pay-per-view. They said that's not even a starting point. Farmer went, they didn't even use leverage that to get Farmer, multi-fight deal with the zone. They just had him go out there, fight against Jojo Diaz. He lost his belt for $500,000, and he hasn't fought since. This is what Eddie Hearn does. So I don't care whether I like Devin Haney or not. I'm not going to close my eyes to what Eddie Hearn is and what he does and how he moves. I don't care who signed to him. I don't care if it's Tank Davis signed to him. I don't care if it's Errol Spence signed to him. I don't care. This is how he moves. Even when he had Luis Ortiz signed to him, did we see an Anthony Joshua versus Luis Ortiz fight? No, we didn't. So even when people are signed to him, he can't get fights done, or he won't do certain fights. But when people are signed to other platforms, he's going to get it done.
Right.
You know what I mean? What's his name? Bob Arum stood up there in front of his face and told him what the plan was going to be and how they were going to move. They have so little fear for this dude that this dude is really saying, we're playing chess. I'm going to tell you every single move I'm going to make. And he still couldn't do anything about it. You know, this is what happens with him. So I'm not going to close my eyes to it. So when everybody started saying, oh, this guy's ducking this guy's scared of fighting him, I'm like, no, things that happen like this because he signed to Eddie Hearn. And as soon as he left Eddie Hearn, he signed to Bob Arum. What started happening? All of a sudden, he has the Kambosos fight. After the Kambosos fight, who is he fighting next? He's fighting Lomachenko. I thought these dudes were scared of him and didn't want to fight him. Isn't that what everybody was saying? That they're ducking him and they're scared of fighting him? But somehow now they're fighting. You know what I mean? So you can't just close your eyes to that. People like to get riled up and like, yeah, these guys are scared. Yeah, no. Eddie Hearn has a way, Matchroom has a way of doing things. PBC has a way of doing things. Top Rank has a way of doing things. We see what PBC does. If you have a good deal that's good for their fighter, they'll send their fighters out. They were about to sending Fulton out to fight. They're not giving any kind of issues, no kind of problems, nothing. That deal just got done. When Martin, it was in the best interest for him to fight Anthony Joshua, even though for the company, it was best to have Martin fight some bum and then have Wilder fight Martin for unification. It was in his best interest to go fight, Anthony Joshua for that $7 million they were offering him. They went ahead and let that fight happen. You know, Porter, when it came to Porter and when it came to Terence Crawford, when they were offering that $1 million BS, it didn't happen. But as soon as it was set and they're willing to give him $4 million to go over there and fight him, and it was a good deal, what did they do? They let him go. They didn't try to give any issues, any kind of problems, nothing. If it's a good deal, even when it came to Andy Ruiz, the best thing for Andy Ruiz for PBC would have been for him to fight like 1-2 more other people and then have him fight Deontay Wilder on a pay-per-view. But what was in the best interest of Ruiz was for him to go ahead and fight Anthony Joshua, and they let that happen. That's the way PBC moves. That's why when people say, oh, PBC, they don't make big fights. No, I say that's bullshit. They make the big fights when it comes to the fighters, period, in their own organizations. And there's a one organization that'll let their fighters go out there and fight people on other platforms if you give that fighter a good deal that makes sense, that's not playing him in any way. If it's the best interest of that fighter, they'll let that happen. That's what they do. So when I talk about PBC, when I talk about Eddie Hearn, Matchroom, when I talk about Top Rank, this is how this is why I say certain things when it comes to fighters that are signed to them. I don't care who it is. I don't care what their camps say. I don't care. All I know is I know how those organizations operate, period. And if anything I've just said is a lie, by all means, let me know.
I don't disagree with anything you're saying, man. Let me say one last thing, man. Anything else you want to share with the people? Because I want to get Chicken Talk in here to talk about these pay-per-view numbers with Benavidez and Plant. Anything else you want to share?
Nah, nothing at all. You know, all y'all be good, be safe, and Terence Crawford and Spence ain't happening. You know what I mean? So y'all can be all hyped up about it. You know, shout out to Chicken Talk, but I'm gonna be the Denver downer and say it ain't happening. All of y'all falling for the banana tailpipe again, and that's it.
All right, man. I appreciate you calling in, Tunnel Vision, man. If any of these boys get the what they call it, testicular fortitude to come in here and debate you, we will definitely call you back in, bro. Appreciate you for calling.
All right, y'all be safe.
All right, man. Later.
All right.
Chicken Talk. I don't know if that was you calling us from the 602, man, but call back in, man. We want to definitely talk about these numbers with David Benavidez. Guys, give Chicken Talk the opportunity to call in. We want to get this one topic out of the way, and then we go from there. That's our guy, Tunnel Vision, man. Always,
so Jason Williams don't believe Tank called out. Wants to smoke with Devin, Haney, and Shakur.
I think those fights happen next. I think at least one of those fights happen next. My personal opinion. I could be wrong, but I think the fight happens. Jason is a Tank fan. Yeah, Jason is a big Tank fan. Chicken Talk eating them wing stops, man. I'm
a big Tank fan. I'm a fan of Tank, Devin, and Shakur.
All right, guys. So while Chicken Talk hitting the wing stop, man, lines are open. If you got something you want to say, call us. Let us know. Jay, we might as well just start off talking about this topic, and then we'll let Chicken Talk come in and weigh in on this topic, because I think there was some information that was dropped yesterday on Chicken Talk's live stream. We got 602 calling in real quick. 602, give me one quick second. Hey, we got 125 people in the building, 77 likes. If you get the opportunity, please hit the like button or the dislike button if you don't like the content, but we're sure that you do. And also, if you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. This is AM Sports Media, the Angry Man Podcast. We are always dropping content on a daily basis. Clips, videos, fight breakdowns, and documentaries. You can find it all here. Who do we have on the line?
Yeah, this is Reginald. First time calling from Detroit, Michigan.
What's going on with you, man? Detroit in the building.
How you fellas doing?
Doing well, bro. How are you?
I'm blessed.
Okay, I'm doing real good. I don't know if you heard of the news about WBA rank. Deontay Wilder ranked number 1.
We have.
And they got Usyk is the champion. I think that's all set up for Wilder and Usyk to fight for them belts, and I think that's great.
He's still not the mandatory though, right? Who's the mandatory now, Jay?
Daniel Dubois is the mandatory, but he's coming off an ACL surgery rather.
Yeah, so
right.
Is he coming? Yeah, but I don't know if I remember talking about this last week. They hadn't at that point last week. They hadn't given a timeline. So I mean, I guess this does position Wilder in a spot to actually become the mandatory and fight Usyk if the boy can't fight.
Yeah, Dubois hurt his knee, and he looked terrible in his last fight. But I think what his promoter going to do is take a step aside money and let his knee heal up and let him fight the winner. And I think this is good for the heavyweight division. As long as Wilder don't fight Fury again, I'm a diehard Wilder fan, but I don't see Wilder getting in the ring with Fury for the 4th time. I think we all seen enough. And, I mean, it is what it is. You know, he got up off the floor and Wilder didn't, so that case is closed. But I think that's good for boxing. Wilder get them 3 belts and let him go on a run and let Fury go on a run. That way for the next 2 or 3 years, we got a lot of young heavyweights coming up. We got the real big baby. Then you got Sanchez. Then you got Daniel Dubois. And you got the real juggernaut. And of course, we still got AJ and Jalen White. So it's plenty of lions out there to carry the division for 2 to 3 years. And but I definitely don't want to see Wilder and Fury trying to unify for the fourth fight. And I just want to see, no more hard hits to Wilder's head. And, I'm a big Wilder fan, but I don't want to see that fight. But that's all I want to say, fellas. Thanks a lot, and I will support your show.
All right, man. Appreciate you for calling
that,
in, man. Great content. Thank you. All right. Yeah, man. They'll probably end up positioning Wilder to get that fight. I don't know if he beats Usyk though, bro. I have to actually look at Usyk in really in detail and how he would actually match up. And I've looked at Usyk on many occasions, but I haven't really thought about how he would match up with Wilder because I just hadn't thought about that fight. So be an interesting fight. I would love for Deontay to get the opportunity to try to win those titles. But if he does win those titles, it's going to end up being a unification with Fury, because I think Fury would take that fight. Number one, it would be a big fucking fight, right? And then number two, it creates an undisputed heavyweight champion, and of course, all those guys are going to want to do that. But it'll be interesting if Wilder were to win those titles, he would have some additional leverage that maybe he didn't have in the first fight. Maybe he can get some different gloves.
Them gloves.
No, I'm saying because at the end of the day, man, when you have the leverage, man, you kind of set things in your favor. So maybe Wilder will be able to set some things in his favor in these if he were able to get past Usyk, which I'm not sure he could.
Yeah, I agree. Now Brenda McDonald, she said Wilder, Joshua, and then both get the fuck out. I agree. That fight would still sell regardless of how people may feel about AJ looked yesterday and where Wilder's at in his career as well. We just want to see that fight. That'll be just a good fight. A fight for them just to leave after that.
I would love to see those two fight. I would also like to see Fury fight someone and get the fuck out too. Like Fury, Wilder, AJ, they're all long in the tooth. How old is Fury? Like 35 maybe?
Yeah, he's probably
Wilder has to be like 37, 38. I would imagine. I'm looking at the ages now.
Why people trying to get Joshua killed.
Yeah, Wilder's 37. Fury is 34. Joshua's 33.
Yeah.
Nah, Tyson Fury is 34. He's 34. So yeah, I mean, Wilder's definitely long in the tooth at 37. But heavyweights can fight for a longer period of time though because of the style of fight. So Wilder isn't that long in the tooth for a heavyweight. Yeah, that's what I was just saying. T, they're heavyweights though. That's a fair fact. But yeah, Jay. What else we got to cover, bro? Did we exhaust everything in our list? Did we cover?
Well, we didn't talk about your favorite promotional company, BLK Prime.
Oh yeah, we did do a video on that, right? Zab Judah chose the Benavidez fight, the Benavidez versus Plant fight, instead of being at a card of BLK Prime where they hosted a card, which I don't know. It appeared to be at a local park in what was it? What was the country? I forgot, Jay.
It was in Costa Rica.
Costa Rica. So they had it on their channel. Yeah, I'm not gonna go there. Anyway, it just appears that when you look at what they're doing as an entity, is like I don't know where they're getting their resources from. The production value on it hasn't been great. It just doesn't feel like they're going to end up being a player, Jay. You feel like they're going to be a player? The K can say BLK changing the industry, and he has a big smiley face there. And I think he has a point. I don't think they're changing shit. I don't think they ever were going to change anything. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I don't see BLK Prime doing much more. I mean, remember they're supposed to make a big splash, and the big splash was AB fighting Radcliffe. Then it was AB fighting Hunt Lundy. Then AB fighting Michael Williams Jr. Then it was AB no longer part of BLK Prime.
Right.
So, and then it still looked funny that Zab was at the David Benavidez and Caleb Plant fight when he had something going on somewhere else for a company that he works for or invested in. He has a lot of ties with them, so you think he would be trying to promote that versus actually going to a real fight.
The ladies were a real fight. I'm just saying that.
I mean, a real fight card that people knew that had named people on there. I would. I mean, if I'm Zab, if I'm part of that BLK Prime in any type of way, I'm going over and I'm promoting the hell out of that, because that's where my bag is at. I got a bag in that. I'm invested in that in some way. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, shout out to, and I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, Delia Haney. Thank you for the contribution. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, she thinks I think she thinks I hate Haney. I'm a huge Tank fan, but I don't see Haney or Shakur having a chance. I mean, they have a chance because they're both really good boxers.
Yeah, I want to see all those guys fight. Like I
want to see those fights.
I'm not coming to a conclusion one way or the other, because I mean, you make a conclusion about those fighters and you just never know what's going to happen. But the thing about it is that to me they are all close in like talent, but Tank has the equalizer, which is power. Now, can Shakur and Devin avoid the power for 12 rounds? I don't know. Maybe they can. I'm not sure. So we'd have to see those guys in the ring.
But the thing for me, what I like about the thing I got Devin so much respect. What the chance he's taken, going over in Australia not once but twice, and now fighting Loma. Basically, he having to go through that, take that deal, and pretty much got screwed on his payday. For what he did, and I was worried he was going to get robbed in Australia, despite him winning damn near 22 out of 24 rounds that he fought Kambosos. So I mean,
I could tell you right now. I can tell you right now. Somebody in the chat gonna come in there and say he didn't take a chance because George Kambosos was an easy opponent, and so it wasn't a real chance. Somebody gonna say that shit. Watch.
Whoa! Someone said Haney gonna get dog walked by Loma. King Kale, please explain a little bit more into that. Why you say he gonna get dog walked by Loma? I don't see that happening. I definitely don't see that happening.
No, he didn't. He got almost $3 million for both fights. See, I told you somebody was gonna come in and dispute that shit. I knew that was coming. I'm surprised Tunnel Vision didn't add that George Kambosos really wasn't that great of a fighter. Therefore, getting $3 million to go over there and fight him for undisputed was not a big risk at all.
No, it's a huge risk when you're giving up all the concessions, all the concessions, and you're fighting in that man's backyard.
I always feel like, man, going into somebody else's backyard is you got to give somebody props for doing that, regardless.
Hell yeah.
We've seen how people going over into different countries from the Olympics and gotten fucked. Roy Jones, there was a reason why he was unwilling to go over there and fight Darius. God, what was his last name, Jay? Darius. I can't think of his last name right now. You know what I'm talking about? That Roy was always tied to, but Roy never fought him. And it was because Roy didn't want to go over there and fight him. Darius.
You got me on that one.
Darius Michael Zix is something. Hey, you are on the Angry Man podcast with Jason and Greg. Who do we have in the building?
What's up? This is Lefty.
Lefty, what's going on?
What's up, chicken dog?
Lefty, how do you pronounce his name, man? Darius Mikuleski, wasn't it?
I'm the worst person with names ever, man.
Yeah, it was something like that, Jay. I can't recall exactly how you pronounce his name.
He was European?
Yeah, he was European, man. And Roy was always like, fuck that, I'm not going over there to fight him because of what happened to him in the Olympics.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame him, bro. I know. I remember that now. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he was German. He never fought outside of Germany, right?
Right. Somewhere
Yeah.
over there, man. He never fought outside there, and Roy's like, man, I ain't going over there to fight him. But yeah, man. So Chicken, we saw earlier this week Bob Arum talk about the Plant versus Benavidez fight in the pay-per-view numbers. And, you know, it's always interesting that Bob Arum is never on record talking about the pay-per-view numbers of top ranked cards. But for whatever reason, you can always find him talking about the PBC cards and how many numbers they did and all that shit. So I think Jake was on the show yesterday and dropped some information in terms of what the numbers were looking like. So do you have an update on that? What the numbers came in at for Benavidez versus Plant?
Yeah, they came in. He said between like 150 and just shy of 199. I mean, just shy of 200,000. He said they'd probably come in around 180, around 180,000 buys, which is you know, a decent number. And like I said, it's more than what Triple G was doing before he got the fight with Canelo.
Right. So if it does, let's say 180, that's $13 million. What was the gate? $4 million?
Yeah, about $4 million in the gate.
Yeah, so you're talking about $17 million total for the fight. I don't know what their guarantees were, but more than likely, just based off of what the PBC model is, this was probably a successful card. Would you agree or disagree? Financially.
Yeah, they were happy with it. Jake is going to write a column this week coming up. He's going to actually have the quotes in there. But from what I know, they were happy with the number.
Cool.
Didn't they have like a $4 million gate too? I think that's what Jake said the other day.
Is Jason listening, bro? Like I literally just said that.
I was doing the chat too.
That's what they had.
Asshole.
Yeah, I am an asshole, but you've been knowing that for 20 years. I'm gonna call your ass out. You've been calling me out.
Should have dropped your ass a long time ago. Go ahead, Chicken.
Chicken, what else you guys talked about, man? And feel free to plug your show because your show is amazing.
Oh, yeah. I finally figured out how to put it on YouTube while I'm simultaneously doing it on Twitter at the same time. So if you look at the last, if you go to my page and look at my last live video, that was from this Saturday, Jake and Lefty Show. And if anybody does have a Twitter account, you can follow me at Lazy Lefty OG, and you can ask your own questions every Saturday morning at 11 p.m. Eastern.
Yes, sir.
Talked about what else did we talk about? It wasn't really too much breaking news. Jake is still pretty positive or optimistic that Spence and Crawford is going to happen. But Keith is still in the batter's box just in case.
Yeah. So for the people that don't know, Lefty is the person that we got that information from. He's the one that I would say broke it in terms of the June 17th date and the potential for Errol Spence versus Terence Crawford. So you're saying that Jake feels good that the fight is still going to happen, but they got Keith Thurman on the back burner, which would make sense when you think about Errol was going to announce his fight. What was that? When was the Frank Martin fight, Jason? Was it late December?
Yeah, like December 10th, I think. No, December 10th or 17th.
Oh, okay. So he was already, ready to announce his fight. So clearly he already had somebody in mind, and we all knew it was going to be Keith Thurman. So it makes sense that Keith is on the back burner for June 17th. So now if Keith Thurman ends up being the fight on June 17th, then that means, Jason, that my original prediction that Errol Spence and Keith Thurman would be on June 17th would be correct. But even if it's Errol Spence and Terence Crawford, the June 17th date is still correct. Do you feel like giving me my flowers while I'm still here? I guess that's a no.
And let me just say, the reason I believe this guy, the person that told me, is because they're usually pretty spot on with it. Like they were spot on with the when they told me the Fulton Inoue fight was happening before before people even knew they were negotiating in public.
Right.
The person, I'm pretty secure in this person that told me.
Nah, man, and we got a whole lot of confidence in you and what you report, and I know you're not going to just put something out there, so that's the reason why we have confidence that it's going to end up happening. I took a misstep when I believed that Steve Kim was possibly breaking that the fight was going to be announced the next day. And the Devin Haney fight never really made sense to me from the beginning in terms of just we already knew that fight was going to end up happening. And right now, I mean, it would be an opportune time to go ahead and announce Spence versus Crawford because, I mean, what if this June 17th, how many weeks is it out, Jay? 9 weeks?
Just about.
So,
no, that's June 17th. That would be.
It's more than that. It's about 11.
Yeah, that'd be about 11 to 12 weeks out.
11 weeks out, yeah. So 11, 12 weeks out. You still want to, with a fight this big, you still probably want to have enough time to give the fighters the opportunity to do a press tour and then really move into camp and give them 8 to 10 weeks camp. So,
Hey, look, I agree with Tunnel Vision on that one right there. Nobody should have confidence when it comes to Crawford. That's why, even though I know the guy that told me he's a good source, I still haven't really been pushing it like that because because of Crawford. The same reason Tunnel Vision said.
Yep, yeah. I don't disagree with you. I think the thing that gives me a little bit of confidence though is we haven't heard diddly poo from the WBO in regards to the purse split and the they haven't said anything. So it makes me believe that they are aware that Terence Crawford is currently negotiating with Errol Spence for that fight.
Correct.
So
correct.
Yeah,
they aren't answering questions about the purse bid with Rocha, and I mean even Oscar, he's not saying anything about it. It looked like everybody on that side, everybody on both sides is giving up on that fight.
Yeah,
because Oscar's not even talking about it.
Right.
Yeah, that's a fact. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what made me wonder. Like, it feels like these guys are actually going in that direction. The tea leaves. If you're just reading the tea leaves. Now, again, to Tunnel Vision's point, we've already seen these guys get all the way to the point where they've negotiated a contract, and Terence Crawford has agreed to everything, and then he exits stage right, and he goes and does something else. I think the difference though today, Left, and you tell me if you see it differently, is there's no BLK Prime at the moment that's going to give him $10 million, which they didn't give him $10 million from the beginning, but someone there that's going to help and allow him to bail himself out. I think he's kind of stuck right now. He either has to go down the WBO route and fight Rocha, where he's not going to necessarily get a whole boatload of money because Oscar doesn't have it to provide. And if it does go to a purse split, still, he's not going to get a whole lot of money because I don't think his value is there, especially fighting Rocha. So I feel like right now it's in his best interest, if he's truly interested in getting the biggest bag he can, to go down the Errol Spence route. You think that's a false assumption that I'm making there, Lefty, or what are your thoughts on that?
No, I think that's a correct assumption. I think he has nowhere to turn. But once again, this is Terence Crawford. He's a guy that's known for cutting off his nose to spite his face.
Facts. Big facts.
Yep.
Big facts. Jay, anything else we want to share with Lefty or get his insight on? We already at the hour and 52-minute mark.
Yeah, I saw some people asking about Jamal Charlo. Talking about, it's been 2 years. Any updates on him?
No, just that he's in the gym training. You know that Juneteenth date was usually his date. He had fought on it, and then he had a fight scheduled last year, which he had to pull out because of injury and whatnot. And it's looking like Spence and Bud is going on that Juneteenth date. Maybe he could be on that card. I'm not sure.
I would love to see.
I'm not sure. I haven't really heard a lot about what's going on with Jamal Charlo, except that he's going to be back in the ring in June. I don't know any opponents or anything. I did hear that is okay. I'm not gonna say that, but go ahead. I'm not really confident in what I was told, so I'm not gonna say that one.
I don't blame you. Chicken, anything else you want to share with the people? You guys can go follow him at Twitter, Lazy Lefty OG.
Lefty OG.
Yep.
And also on here,
Chicken Talk.
And that was a good call by Tunnel Vision earlier today when I tuned in, came back from my wing stop, and was listening to him cook for a minute.
Oh yeah, man. Tonal always coming with that heat, man. That's why we said, when Terence reached out and said he wanted to debate Tunnel Vision, I said, if you want to come on here and get cooked, by all means, I will sit back and watch you get cooked, filleted.
Who, a Bud fan?
Barbecued. Yeah, he a Bud fan. They always get
barbecue chicken.
They always get cooked, but I like the.
Man,
I don't always like to be the one that cook.
Just sit back and listen and learn something, because you're gonna get embarrassed.
Oh, just sit back and let them cook them.
Yeah, because they gonna get embarrassed if they get up there and try to talk about years ago when Bud and Errol saw each other at the fight at the Maurice Hooker fight. That's all they gonna talk about. And Bud said this, and Earl said that. And you know the backstory behind that?
No, go ahead, share it.
Do y'all know? Okay, Earl's old manager, what's my man name? Adrian Clark. Adrian Clark, he's a manager of Fighters Come First Management. He signed Bruce Norman. He got a couple boxers signed with him. Anyway, I interviewed Adrian a while back. The story behind that is they went there specifically to see Terence Crawford. Mm-hmm. Earl, Adrian, and Earl's girl all got into the car, drove to Oklahoma specifically to see Terence Crawford. They didn't even know Ellie Setback was going to be there to record all that stuff. They went up there. They wanted to see Terence Crawford and talk to him and size him up. So this idea that Earl was scared or something like that was just ridiculous when the whole intention was to go up there and see the man.
Wow. No, I didn't know that. That's news to me.
So, that's why I just sit back and laugh at the stuff I see these people say sometimes. Like, y'all really have no idea what you're talking about.
Facts. Chicken, anything else you want to share with the people?
No, that's really about it, man.
All right, man. I appreciate you calling in, bro. It's always good to hear from you, man, and we'll definitely be on the show next week. You guys, you need to come check it out, man. I'm telling you guys, great show. Other than Matt sometimes he gets a little long-winded, but
I'm gonna have to block him when they announce that fight, because he's just gonna be too out of control.
It's gonna be too much. Yeah,
he'll be way too much. But no, man, appreciate you calling in, bro.
Yeah. All right, you take it easy. Y'all take it easy.
All right, bro.
All right, be easy, Lefty.
Yeah.
Man, that was Lefty, Lazy Lefty OG. Go follow him at Twitter. I'm telling you guys, man, his space is off the chain, off the hook. Man, let's pause here real quick, Jay. We got 125 people in the building. We got 97 likes. If you get the opportunity, please hit the like button or the dislike button. But make sure that you're engaging with the content. And if you're new to the channel, this is the Angry Man Podcast, AM Sports Media. We are always dropping new and fresh content. Be on the lookout for a documentary that I'm currently working on for Errol Spence. Hopefully it'll be the best work I've done, but you guys will be the judge of that, of course. Jay, what else? We almost to 2 hours, bro.
I'm
Wednesday. I'm heading out of town this week. Yeah. So couple things. So we're going to do a live this Wednesday because we won't do a live next Sunday because I'm going to be gone. I'm going to be out of the country. Unfortunately, the time zone difference is so dramatic that I won't be able to sit in on the show. So we're going to do one Wednesday, and then the following weekend, what we're trying to arrange is to have two special guests come in and host the show for us. Two people, of course, that we trust. So it should still be a great show for them. But I will be out of the country, so unfortunately, I won't be able to host this show. But we have been recording content. It's boxing content where it's more so about, it's non-time sensitive. It's not going to be any breaking news, but it's just things to just make you think and hopefully things that will entertain you. Jay, anything else that you want to discuss before we wrap this live up?
No, I just appreciate all the engagement in the chat.
Yeah, I appreciate all the engagement in the chat as well. And shout out to the people. Do you want to shout out the people that donated to the channel today?
Yeah, shout out to Motorsport Sports, Monty Yoel, and Delilah.
Thank you guys so much for your contribution to the channel. We really appreciate it. And let me stop and make sure I pause and say thank you to just a lot of people that come here. Jason Williams, Brenda, of course, Motorsports, Edward Torres,
the Kiggy,
Delia, Of course, Chicken Talk. Go subscribe to Chicken Talk. Go subscribe to the Mike Check Podcast. Go subscribe to the Boxing Source. Go subscribe to Manager Marty. Those are all people that we affiliated with and work with and got a lot of love for. I see my guy LT in the building. Chi-Town was in the building earlier, but he's going to catch us later. So, yeah, everybody, man, that came in Tunnel Vision, of course. Even that Duck Terence. Because, I mean, his name Terence and Terence Crawford, they both ducks. The Duck Terence, the Ducking Terences. All they do is duck. I kid you, Terence. I kid you. I like Terence too, man. He's one of the people that support the channel as well. And even Arthur Jones and Michael Price, man, they always come and check us out as well, man. So I can definitely, even though they don't agree with what we say, I definitely appreciate them for their contribution to the channel. Jay, anything else, man, we need to share with the folks? Again, guys, I'm going to be gone for like 11 or 12 days. I will be out of action. But we got stuff recorded. We are going to still attempt to record up-to-date videos if we have the opportunity to. Just because, we want to stay fresh and current when we can, even though I'm going to be in a different time zone. Jason and I are going to try to arrange that. But outside of that, that's pretty much it. And also, we were trying to do a pound-for-pound ranking, but the software, or at least the website, is now charging. So I'm trying to figure out a different way to do it, because for what they're charging is absolutely ridiculous to use. So I'm trying to figure out a way to do that. So be on the lookout for that. Hopefully I'll be able to figure out a way to do that either this week or when I come back. But yeah, man, that's all we pretty much got. No boxing Greg. Jason can hold it down. If Jason can learn how to run the computer, Jay, you want to try? I can certainly hand it off to you, my brother.
You know, fuck you, Greg.
Fuck you, Greg. So
fuck your couch in the background too.
The answer is no, guys. Salute Brandon House. Appreciate you. Appreciate you guys for joining, man. Until Wednesday when we go live again, we'll probably do an hour and a half Wednesday. So make sure you guys are on the lookout for that. But once again, man, peace. Thank you guys for joining.